You will never stretch yourself as far as someone else can stretch you. Left on your own, you'll stop the second it gets uncomfortable, and that's exactly why most people stay stuck in their bodies, their careers, and in their lives. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us for clips throughout the week. Welcome to the Say Yes Experience. I'm your host, Jessica Rector. If you are new here, welcome, friend. If you've been here before, welcome back. On day 7 of my 100 Days of Say Yes Experiences, I got professionally stretched, and let me tell you something. It was nothing like stretching myself. It was painful and it was uncomfortable, but it expanded my range of motion in ways I could have never done on my own. And that's the metaphor we're unpacking today. Growth only happens when you're willing to be pushed, pulled, and sometimes even a little uncomfortable. In this episode, you'll learn why the pain you avoid is the exact thing that creates your next breakthrough, why you can't grow to your full potential on your own, no matter how independent you are, and how to spot where you're resisting growth when releasing would actually accelerate it. By the end, you'll know exactly where you need to be stretched next and how to finally move past that invisible ceiling that you've put on yourself. And before we dive in, just a quick note, the Say Yes Experience podcast is now open for sponsorships. Woo! If your company aligns with courage, resilience, and helping people live more boldly, let's talk. Make sure you reach out at hello@sayyesexperience.com. That's hello@sayyesexperience.com, because this movement is growing fast. We want to make sure you get on board, and we would love to partner with companies ready to make a massive, big impact and change millions of lives. So let's get to it. I thought I can stretch myself. I mean, why pay someone else to do what I can do myself, right? But I realized that's exactly the point. You can't stretch yourself as far as someone else can stretch you. So just like in my business, I ask colleagues or others who have had more success than I have, what's worked for you? And they can help me see things that I didn't even know existed and answer questions that I didn't even know to ask. So where in your life are you telling yourself that you can do it alone, when the truth is you've already plateaued? You've already reached this certain level and you can't seem to get past that level. So maybe it's in a relationship, your career, or trying to solve a parenting issue, because you cannot stretch yourself as far as someone else can stretch you. Oftentimes what will happen is as soon as you start feeling that level of discomfort, you'll back off. You'll say, okay, nope, I've got it. I'm not going any farther, or I can't do it. I can't go any farther. And so you'll immediately start to back off. You'll immediately say, nope, that's enough for me. And you'll pull out. So when I was getting professionally stretched, I could initially feel that hesitation. Because think of it, they're stretching your leg, bending your leg, and then stretching it. And I thought, okay, that feels okay. That's about as far as I'd stretch it. And then they stretch it a little bit more. And it's like, oh, hi, didn't know I could do that. And then they pause, and then they stretch it a little bit more. And it's like, oh, and then they pause and they hold it there. And then they stretch it again. And so meanwhile, I would have stopped myself at the very first pause. I'm feeling a little pull right there. And so I would stop. Meanwhile, the professional stretcher got 3 more areas, 3 more pushes out of it than I would have done for myself. And with each one, it hurt a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But in the end, I didn't even know that full pull, that push was even possible. Him pushing this way, my leg pulling that way, him pulling my arm out. I didn't even know those were possible, because I would have stopped at the very first little bit of stretch. Now, he didn't do it so much where I was in massive pain thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sore for 2 weeks. Now, I knew I was going to be sore the next day just from that little bit of extension. Think about how you pull your body or you push it in a new direction. And that initial tension that you feel pushing back. Now, it's not just in your body. I mean, think about in your career, relationships, when you're trying to build your confidence. And if you just pushed a little bit more in those areas, felt that pull a little bit, where in your life would it create the biggest change, the biggest outcome? Because oftentimes at the very first sign of discomfort, you pull away and say, nope, I'm not going to push it anymore. I'm not going to create waves. I'm not going to push them into doing something. I'm not going to bring it up. I'll just quiet my voice. I won't share my idea or my thoughts because they'll probably push back. So I'll just stop right here, especially if you ask a question the first time and you don't get the response you want, or they don't react in the way that you had gone over in one of your 100 million scenarios of how you played that conversation to be. You just back off and you say, okay, I'll just let it go. It's not that big of a deal. Or I don't want them to be mad. I'm a people pleaser. I'll do it. I don't want to push back and really share with them how I'm feeling. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So you don't really explain the situation. You don't really stand up for yourself. You decide that you're not going to apply for that job because someone else that you know is applying for that job too. And yeah, you don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Want your event to do more than just motivate? Want it to transform? Hi, I'm Jessica Rector, CEO of the Say Yes Experience, #1 best-selling author and the keynote speaker and experience creator companies call when they are serious about change. I don't just speak, I'm known to move people. From the main stage to custom Say Yes Experience team building events, your group will crush comfort zones, ignite connection, and fuel mental wellness and peak potential, all while having the kind of fun that actually sticks. Whether it's a leadership summit, company offsite, or all hands meeting, we bring immersive, energizing experiences that unlock what's next for your people and business. So if you're ready to ditch burnout and lead your team into bold action and a Say Yes culture, book me now at jessicarector.com or email me at jessica@jessicarector.com. And hey, subscribe to the Say Yes Experience podcast right here. It's where the movement starts.
You've heard of a bucket list, things you want to do before you die, right? At the Say Yes Experience, we believe in something truly more powerful, the Say Yes bucket list, the things you want to do to truly start living. It's about feeling alive, breaking out of routine, and turning someday into right now. We've created a free Say Yes bucket list template to help you get started, so you can move to ideas to action and start saying yes to light the things that light your fire. So don't wait to truly start living and download your free template today.
And so you don't stretch yourself. You don't put yourself out there. You don't put yourself out there in the situations of when it can be uncomfortable. So you keep living in this comfort zone and it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And what it takes to actually stretch yourself hurts in the moment. But then along the way, that pain creates freedom. It creates mobility later. Think about it. When you work out, when you exercise, when you're building a business, starting a relationship, applying for a job, really trying anything new, you're going to stretch yourself and it's going to be painful at first. You're going to feel the challenges arise, the issues, the unknown, the uncertainty. And somehow you make your way through all those things. You decide, this is the best job for me. I love this job, or this relationship is not for me. Or building a business, every challenge you realize Yes, this is a challenge. I'm going to push through it because that's the only way to get to the goals, to the dreams. That's the only way to lose the 10 or 20 pounds that you want to be losing. It's the only way to find the love in your life. It's the only way to create that life that you want. But yet, you stop as soon as it gets challenging, as soon as you feel that resistance. But in order to grow, that short term discomfort is going to unlock that long term joy. So, anytime you feel even a little bit of discomfort, you have to ask yourself, is this little bit of discomfort worth the greatness, the amazing life, the relationship, the, you know, growth that you have with your kids, the travel, that whatever that makes you feel uncomfortable or brings discomfort to you? Is that short term discomfort worth the joy, the happiness, the experience that you're going to get out of it? So, what temporary discomfort are you avoiding right now that if you embrace would actually set you free? You can't stretch yourself as far as someone else can. We all stop short when we stretch ourselves. We play it safe. That's why guides and coaches and mentors exist to take us further than we can take ourselves. Who do you need in your corner right now who can pull you further than you can push yourself? Who will literally say, I believe in you. I got you. I see the capabilities, the skills, and the abilities you have, even if you don't see them. So I was on a different Say Yes experience just yesterday, and my son B Man challenged me to this one. And as soon as he challenged me to it, I literally said in my head, yes, negative thoughts, literally said in my head, there's no way. He said that I needed to run 2 miles. Now, keep in mind, I've never ran 1 mile, let alone 2 miles. It's hard for me to literally even run for 5, 7 minutes, let alone 2 miles. And immediately when he gave this to me, as soon as I said, I can't do that. Oh my God, that sounds way too hard. I said, you got this, Jessica. You absolutely can do it. Now, would I have ever put that goal or challenge on myself? Absolutely not. Why? Because A, I don't like running. B, exercising is a drain. I've got to talk myself into doing it. I like stretching, but really any kind of cardio to me is just pure exhaustion. Why? Because I don't do it on a regular basis. If I did it on a regular basis, it would be less exhausting. So I get out and we're running. Now we have a treadmill, but instead of running on the treadmill, which Blaze decided to point out to me, Mom, you can't just run on the treadmill. Instead of me running on the treadmill, I go outside and want to run around the block. I just find there's a different kind of energy when you actually get outside and do it. Plus, I could look at things and focus on other things besides how much longer do I need to run? Or how far have I gone? AKA, how much longer do I still need to go? So I get out there and I use the term run very loosely. It's more like a slow jog. So on this slow jog, I start off very slowly because I know I've got 2 miles to go in this. I downloaded an app so it could actually track how long or the distance that I was running. And I start off and I'm feeling good. I got this. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be awesome. And as the time goes on, I find myself looking at the distance more often and more often. And then I did a little bit of selfie recording myself. And what I found in the time that I was recording myself, I wasn't constantly looking at how much distance had passed. And then when I did look, I was surprised. Oh my gosh, that much had passed? That's fantastic. So my mind got off of things, right? So did I accomplish the 2 miles? Yes, 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 I did. Woo! I did it. Woo! I did it. But I would have never come up with that challenge myself. A, I wouldn't have thought I could do it. And B, it's not something that really got me super excited to do. So, all that to say, the reason why I was able to do it is because someone else stretched me to do it. I didn't put that challenge on myself. So, who in your life can stretch you for you to reach a goal that maybe you would never set for yourself, one that you never would have even thought about, and one that could actually help you reach a new level and get you closer to reaching your potential? Who can you connect with today that can really help you stretch yourself in new and different ways? Now, think about it. When you resist, the stretching hurts more. Think of a hard conversation that you had. Someone might have told you something that you didn't want to hear, but you really needed to hear it. It hurts in the moment, and it allows you to release any emotions and thoughts that you have building up inside of you. I had one of those conversations not that long ago. It was with a really good friend. I'd known her over 20 years, and she had come out to visit me, and my son was playing baseball at the time. And at the baseball game, my son was not swinging the bat. And I had told him, if you don't swing the bat, you can't hit the ball. So swing the bat. Even if you miss, swing the bat. Now, Blaze, when he was younger, was extremely good at baseball, hitting almost every ball, making home runs, and that was in coach pitch. Then it came to kid pitch, and he would see his teammates getting hit with the ball time and time again by kid pitchers. He got this fear of the ball in him. He was scared to get up and hit the ball, and I couldn't understand it. And so he had played several seasons in kid pitch at this specific game. And I was getting mad and I was frustrated that he would not swing the bat. And so I was cheering him on. You got it. I believe in you. And then when he wouldn't swing the bat, I would then yell, swing the bat, swing the bat. And he still wouldn't swing the bat. And every time he would get up to bat, it was the same thing. I would be super encouraging. You got this. I believe in you. You can do it. And then when he wouldn't swing the bat, I'd yell, swing the bat. Blaze, swing the bat. So my friends saw this multiple times every time Blaze got up to bat. And at one point, Blaze said, Mom, stop, before he was getting up to bat. And my friend had a conversation with me about a week after that game. And she said, you are his biggest encourager and his biggest cheerleader, and you also tear him down. And man, that was hard to hear. Now, although this was several years ago, I still think about that because it took a lot of work for me to process and work through what she said and why I was showing up that way. And if we do not know how we're showing up, if we don't have a good friend that tells us this is how you're showing up, we'll continue to behave that way because we don't see ourselves showing up that way. And we'll keep doing it time and time again. Now, when my friend told me this, it was a shock to my system. And I was heartbroken. I could not believe such a good friend would say this to me. Like, how could you say that to me? I don't tear my son down. I want to cheer him on and encourage him. I believe in him. And she said, but think about what you said to him. She said, you were embarrassing him so much that he was telling you to stop and you still wouldn't stop. And man, that was hard to hear. It was hard to hear. After that conversation, I cried. I couldn't understand why she was saying it. And as time passed, I started thinking of that conversation because it started weighing on me so much. And I started thinking about it and wondering, like, is that true? Why would she say that? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how much it was true. How much she was a good friend to tell me the truth. And if not for that, I don't know if I would have been self-aware in those moments to say, wow, that needs to change. It took that conversation with her for me to realize that that behavior that I was exhibiting wasn't acceptable. It wasn't acceptable to my son, and it wasn't acceptable to myself. And what I realized after I thought about it and processed that conversation was that when Blaze wasn't hitting the ball, I took it personal. I took it as though it made me look bad. Me as a person look bad because my son wasn't hitting the ball, that my son wasn't helping his team more, that my son wasn't getting on base more often, that my son wasn't making home runs anymore, that he wasn't even hitting the ball to get on first base. That I took it as it was something lacking in me because of that. And so I felt that if I kept hounding him, if I kept saying, hit the ball, swing the bat, that eventually he would do it. But in reality, that just stirred up fear in him. Fear of him getting up to bat, fear of him walking up to bat, of what is my mom going to say? How am I going to feel worse about myself because of what my mom is saying, which is the complete opposite of what I wanted in my son and for him to feel, right? I wanted him to feel confident and believe in himself that he could do it, not scared of what is my mom going to say? How is my mom going to react when I don't swing the bat? And so it took my friend saying that in order for me to change that behavior and for me to really do a lot of deep searching on why was I doing that? Whereas when other kids don't swing the bat, when they don't hit the ball, I don't think anything about the parents. It doesn't even occur to me to think something about the parents. So why was I tying that other parents would think that about me? I have no idea, except for insecurity. I was just insecure and thinking that my son not being the best was a reflection of me, which isn't in fact true, right? Maybe my son isn't the best at baseball and he's got so many other amazing qualities, capabilities, and skills, right? We can't be the best at every single thing we do. And so all that to say that it took my friend having that conversation with me, that stretch that she had that conversation with me, to really stretch me to becoming a better me, to showing up in a new way, for me becoming self-aware, for me to change something about myself. And if you don't have someone in your life who's willing to have those hard conversations with you, how can you associate and start finding people in your life who will be brave and have those conversations with you, tell you when you're out of line, tell you when your behavior is not acceptable, tell you when you're doing things really well, but also when you're falling short? Because those people who can stretch us, especially when we're not showing up as our best self, will help us reach our potential, will help us reach another level, and will help us become a better version of us. Because the last thing I want is to keep showing up the way that I used to show up at baseball.
The Say Yes experience is the movement that helps you adapt to change, enhance mental wellness, and stretch into what's possible. We tailor every experience to your specific challenges and goals, whether that's preventing burnout, building resilience, or creating a culture of bold action and connection. Whether it's a getaway with your friends or creating something for small teams to an entire organization, this is where transformation begins. Say yes to growth. Say yes to a custom experience designed just for you. Let's build and develop your own Say Yes experience at jessicarector.com.
This episode is sponsored by...
Wish you could hit pause, catch a breath, and leave the rat race behind for a while? You can. Come check out Breakspace, a global community where mid-career professionals just like you are creating life-changing breaks every day. Founded by two leading break experts, this one-of-a-kind resource is your go-to for all things career break. With hands-on coaching, dynamic courses, and genuine connection, you don't have to go at it alone. Visit gobreakspace.com to learn more and join today.
And if I was showing up at baseball like that, was there other areas in my life that I was also showing up at like that without even realize I was showing up like that? Without even realizing I was showing up like that? Were there other places in other areas? And when other people in our life stretch us, we can actually take that information and ask, where else in my life can I use this? Where else in my life do I need it? So start looking in your life for people who can stretch you, who can have hard conversations, who can tell you what you need to hear, even when you don't want to hear it, even when you think you don't need to hear it. But it's the exact thing that you need to hear at that exact moment in every way so you can become a better you. You can't keep doing the same things in the same way and expect to be a better you. It doesn't work like that. When you allow people in your life to have those tough conversations, to say things sometimes in the most direct, blunt kind of way, it may take you aback like it did me, but it's the exact thing I didn't even know that I needed to hear that literally changed my life. And I still often think about that conversation and how it changed so many different aspects in my life, from me showing up at sporting events to me being a little bit more relaxed when things don't go as planned. For me just to take a deep breath and a breather before I react so I can better respond. Because when you are able to relax and you release those conversations that you're having, the thoughts that you think other people are judging you based on something else, when you release what other people are going to think about you, say, or even do, that's when the real magic happens. So think about life transitions. Resistant prolongs the pain and release accelerates the growth. I'm going to say that again. Resistance prolongs the pain, release accelerates the growth. So the longer you resist it, the longer you're going to stay in that pain. You're going to stay feeling stagnant, feeling like something's missing. When you're able to release it, you will change the trajectory of your life. So where in your life are you tensing up, and how much easier would it be if you just stopped and let go? Because there is so much short-term pain that you've got to go through if you really want to create that long-term mobility. Oftentimes, you don't want to go through the pain, even if it's what's going to help you reach your goals and your desires. In fact, people would do more to stay away from pain than they would do to move towards their desires. So think about pain in your life. You will do more to stay away from that than you will do to reach the things that you want, the desires, the dreams, and the goals, because people dislike pain that much. But 30 seconds of discomfort is the equivalent to long-term freedom. So think about business, health, relationships. Temporary pain is the entry price for your future capacity. Since most people aren't willing to go through even a small level of pain or discomfort, when you do it, you're already doing what most people aren't willing to do. And stop quitting because it's uncomfortable. The payoff always comes later. You stop because it's uncomfortable, not realizing that maybe just around the corner, the next step you take, the next action, the next call you make, that's when the payoff will come. But you quit because not only is it discomforting or uncomfortable, you feel a little bit of pain and you don't like that pain. So you say, nope, I'm done. I've had enough. And you check out. Think about a relationship, think about a career or a job that you have, or maybe you've got to go through a little bit in order to get that higher level position, but you're like, no, I'm just going to stay comfortable right where I am because although it's horrible, it's not like, horrible. So you stay right where you are. When what's really calling you is to start your own business, or what's really calling you is to go apply for another job, or to reach out to a friend because they're hiring. That's what's really calling you. But starting over sounds tough, and tough means pain. Now, also, when you're getting professionally stretched, there's this certain level of trust. I got to trust that the professional had the skill, that he knew what he was doing. He knew when to stop, that I wasn't going to get hurt. He also knew when to push just a little bit further, where that line is between not far enough and just enough, and knew exactly how much to push. Think about that. Do you know where that line is where you can push yourself just a little bit farther, but not too far that it feels unbearable or something that's unattainable? Growth in life requires a certain amount of trust. Letting others guide you, support you, push you where you can't or won't go alone. Also, trusting yourself that you'll make the right decisions, that you may not know everything, but that you can be resourceful and that you'll bet on yourself, because betting on yourself is the best bet you will ever make. And you will go so much farther betting on yourself than anything else in life. So where in your life are you refusing help because you don't fully trust someone yet? And who is that person that you don't yet fully trust? And how can you start building up that trust? Because trust doesn't come overnight, right? It comes little by little by little. Think of your best friend. You didn't immediately trust that person with your deepest, darkest secret. You built that trust little by little. And then when the time felt right, then you shared that deep, dark secret. You didn't trust people at work immediately. You started building that trust through conversations, through doing things together, working on a project, joining a team together. And then you built that trust along the way and said, this is someone I can rely on. This is someone that I can depend on. This is someone that I know will tell me the truth, even if I don't want to hear the truth. So who is that in your life, and where else can you surround yourself with more of those type of people that you can trust and will push you to the next level? Now, when this professional stretcher was stretching me, each stretch felt small, just a little bit, and then a little bit more. And then every time he would hold it, it was like for instance, my leg would get used to that for a few moments. And then he'd push it a little bit more and he'd get used to that. Then he'd push it a little bit more. Each push was an accumulation, and it expanded my range of motion. And growth is the exact same thing. Daily micro yeses lead to transformation. Daily micro steps lead to transformation. Something small done consistently over time, that's the key. Consistently, not once a week, twice a month, but daily. Small actions that you take daily will create massive, big results. But most people quit before they ever get a chance to get results. They want it immediately, right now, and they want a lot of it. I was having a recent conversation with a friend, and I was talking about social media and growing this movement on social media. And it is a slow process, friend. Just like with anything, you don't see results overnight. When someone becomes an overnight success, you don't see all the work and all the time and all the energy and all the effort that they put in to become an overnight success. Just like social media, people want social media following, but they don't post consistently once a week, once every other day, instead of 3 times a day, every single day for 90 days, and then to track that progress. And then what happens in another 30 days and another 30 days? Posting once a week, once every 2 weeks, or even once a day isn't enough. You have to consistently be posting and engaging, finding out what the listeners, what the viewers want, what's going to work for them, what resonates with them, and consistently giving that feedback to them, pulling them into the conversation, and also putting out that consistent content if you're wanting to grow social media. It's not going to grow overnight, but yet we want things right now, immediately. And when that consistency doesn't happen, we quit, we stop because we're not getting the results fast enough. So, small, consistent stretches in yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, in your business, in your relationship, in parenting, right? We become better at those things little by little by little, by the lessons that we learn, by the mistakes that we make, by the challenges that come our way that we get through. And we say, okay, in order for that to not happen again, what do I need to do better next time? What didn't work about this process? Ooh, how could that conversation have gone better? How can I build this stronger relationship? What is it that they're needing in the relationship? What is it I'm needing? How can we learn to communicate better together? All of those things are small stretches. But again, stretch yourself a little bit consistently, not just every once in a while. And all those consistent stretches help you become a more better. All those consistent stretches help you become a better version of you. We think we're stretching ourselves enough, but we often stop at 60%. External push gets us to 100%. I watch this show called Special Forces, where celebrities are put through a series of tests as though they were applying to be in the Special Forces. Sometimes they don't think they can do it, and yet they're still able to do it. Even when they're exhausted, even when they're hurting, they push through. Why? Because they have the special force unit pushing them consistently, continuously. Don't give up. You got this. If you give up, you have to basically quit. And they don't want to quit the whole program. So they keep pushing themselves. So you're capable of so much more than you think you are. But oftentimes you don't push yourself far enough to see what you can truly do, which is why, just like on the Special Forces TV show, the unit is pushing these celebrities farther because the celebrities would quit immediately after the first few seconds, after it started feeling uncomfortable. You don't know what you're capable of until you push yourself. Where do you believe you're at your max? You might truly just be at the beginning when you think you're at your max. What would it look like if you actually pushed yourself just a little bit more, just when you think you can't do any more, that you've had enough? What if you pushed yourself just a little bit more? Without stretching, my body is tight and my range shrinks. In fact, my body feels better when it is stretched. It feels looser and as though my mind is more creative throughout the day. Same thing happens with your potential. Comfort today costs you capacity tomorrow. When we think about professional stretching, you likely think about physical stretching. It also applies to your emotional and mental capacity too, to risk, to connect, to be vulnerable. How can you stretch yourself today emotionally and mentally? That thing you've been holding inside, scared to share with someone. Find a safe person and share it today. Give yourself permission to let it go and to let it out. Those walls that you spent so much time building, let them down. Let someone else in, even if it's just a little bit. And oftentimes we forget to dream. We put them aside thinking that they won't come true. So what's the point of dreaming anyways about them? That's what we tell ourselves. And if you don't dream your dreams, they won't come true. Stretch yourself mentally. If you can do anything or go anywhere, what would you do? Where would you go? What's your dream? You have one deep down. Maybe you've put it on the back burner, or maybe you didn't put it on the list. Maybe you've forgotten about it altogether because you're too busy going and doing and being for everyone else. But you have a dream. What is that dream? And what's the one thing that you need to make it come true? I want you to start dreaming again and push yourself mentally to make it happen.
Hey, I'm Blaze, and the sales experience was my idea. I created it to help my mom, Jessica Rector. When she was traveling and keynote speaking a lot and on the verge of burnout, I wanted her to say yes to herself, to joy, and to what's possible. What started out with me helping her find a new ice cream around town had turned into a movement. So together we wrote this book, The Say Yes Experience, with 52 powerful tips to help you prevent burnout, strengthen your mental health, and live intentionally. Step outside your comfort zone. One tip, one small shift, one big impact. Ready to say yes to a better you? Grab the Say Yes Experience at justcorrector.com/store.
Burnout isn't just exhaustion, it's a warning sign that something needs to change. 90% of the workforce has been in burnout in the last year alone, according to Gallup, and it's not going away anytime soon. It's even impacting the home life, but it doesn't have to be that way. In my powerful book, Blaze Your Brain to Extinguish Burnout, 52 Keys to Prevent, Breakthrough, and Beat Burnout, I show you how to take back control, reignite your energy, and transform overwhelm into opportunity. Backed by research and real-life strategies, this isn't just another self-help book. It's your guide to lasting change, mental wellness, and saying yes to the life you deserve. Ready to break the burnout cycle? Grab Blaze Your Brain to Extinguish Burnout today at justcorrector.com/store. If you want to get a copy for your team or all your employees, reach out to me directly for rates at jessica@justcorrector.com.
Let yourself be vulnerable and emotional. Stretch yourself emotionally to feel more, to talk about your feelings, to share your feelings, to open up to other people. Let them know what's on your mind, what's in your heart, what you believe, what you value, what you think. And in the process, you're going to form deeper, stronger connections, not just with other people, but also with yourself. Where do you need to be stretched right now? Stop pretending you can do it all yourself. You can't, and it's okay that you can't. Life is not meant to do alone. Make sure you find the person, the coach, the friend who can pull you further than you think you can go, than you think is possible. Because that, my friend, is where growth lives. Where do you think you need to be stretched right now? Stop pretending you can do it all yourself because you can't. Life is not meant to be lived and done alone. Find the person, the coach, the friend who can pull you further than you think you can go, because that's where growth lives. My friend, we want you to continue to grow, and we know you can. So here's the takeaway. You'll never take yourself as far as someone else can stretch you. Left on your own, you'll stop at comfort, but growth, real growth, lives just past that point of resistance. My challenge for you, friend, is this. Ask yourself today, where do I need to be stretched? Maybe it's in your career or a relationship, or maybe it's in confidence. And then find the person, the coach, or the partner that can pull you further than you'd ever go on your own. You can also join our Facebook group where we'll help you do just that, because that's how you expand into your next stage. And one more thing before we wrap. The Say Yes Experience podcast is now open for sponsorships. If you're a brand that believes in courage, resilience, and helping people live more boldly, I'd love to talk about partnering. Reach out at hello@sayyesexperience.com. Again, that's hello@sayyesexperience.com. This movement is growing fast, and together we can impact millions of lives. If today's episode stretched you, pun intended, share it with a friend who needs this reminder, and make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because we're here to help you live more and reach your potential. Until next time, live more, fear less, and keep saying yes. I believe in you.